So if you want to write in the chat from which country or city you are joining us, we'll be grateful. And also knowing where you got this information about our event. So for instance, I'm joining from the Netherlands, Maastricht in particular. And yeah, I got to know about this event because we organize it. So via social media. The chat is visible for everybody? Shy people today. Come on, people. Write down. Sweden, welcome, Massimo. Italy, LinkedIn, Ireland, the Netherlands, Padova, Italy, Sweden. Okay, many Italian, but I see also other people that don't look coming from Italy, but feel free to join. I leave the floor now to, I see other people coming, so I'm gonna make you co-host, Bo, and then this way you can look at the people that are joining and share them. I leave the floor a second to Filippo to give some information about the project, just a little few, and then Antonio can take charge of this event and kick it off.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you, Alessandra, for the introduction. I'm Filippo Chiarello, University of Pisa, coordinator of the ENCORE project. In a nutshell, what we are doing in this project is trying to understand how recent development in artificial intelligence can help us in designing better educational content. For doing that, we started 1.5 years ago. First of all, understanding which are the most interesting skills to work with in the context of digital, entrepreneurial, and green skills. So we have done a large assessment of the relevant OER that are around and that can be used to be analyzed and to feed artificial intelligence techniques. And now we are in the phase of understanding which of these technologies can be the more helpful. And in particular, we are developing what we will talk about today, the so-called ENCORE enablers, that takes in input different kind of data sources, textual data sources, to be analyzed and to help then educators in designing educational content. As Antonio will show today, we have some interesting work we are doing in the interfaces, so how to make the interaction between us as educators and these technologies the smoother and the better. And also, as you can imagine, given the recent advancement of generative AI and large language models, we are also studying how to integrate these kind of techniques to help educational design. So I leave the floor to Antonio, that is the speaker of today. And Antonio, the floor is yours, and thanks again.
Let me first share the screen, and so let's go to the slides.
Yeah, we see them well.
Okay,
yeah.
Thanks a lot. So thanks a lot for the invitation, first of all, to this webinar, and for the very nice introduction. And thanks to all the participants that are here to spend time to listen my voice and my content on this talk. So I'm Antonio Bucchiarone, senior researcher at Fondazione Bruno Kessler, BK in Trento, in Italy. I'm a partner of the ENCORE project and the work package leader of, let me say, the implementation of the enablers that Filippo was mentioning before. So my role today is to introduce the platform and to introduce why we do personalized and playful education in the ENCORE project. So first of all, let me introduce the context. especially after and during especially during the COVID pandemic, we in some way change a little bit the vision of education, and also thanks to the help of the digital transformation situation, we see that all the learners are learning everywhere. So using a massive set of tools, okay, at any time. So this means that each of us learns every days, and we have this lifelong learning effect. So we learn in a continuous way, in a adaptive way in our life. For this, we have also the technological aspect that is very important, and this digital transformation is asking more and more companies to search for new specialists, and also we change the business in companies very fast, and for this education and training should in some way adapt and make this more flexible. And for this reason, we need to have an education that is flexible, that is proactive, in the sense that we introduce new skills time by time, and we need to do this in automatic way. We need to exploit, for example, the artificial intelligence in a way that we are very resilient to this, and we can adapt the tools, but also the pedagogical methods very fast in our life. So we need a shift in the paradigm of education. We need to, let me say, reinvent education for the whole society. And of course, we need to have an incremental innovation. So we need to understand what are the new skills that we need to introduce in the educational paths, and we need to have tools that will help the learners, but especially the educators, to prepare the material and to share the material in an innovative way with their students. So in our research institute in FBK, we have a mission on this. This is why we are also part of the ENCORE project. So we think that this project is very strategic for education. And we have these three aspects. So the vision means that we need to introduce technical solutions. So our business, our role in FBK is to innovate learning and training, maintain, not only implementing tools, but implementing tools that are able to ensure the inclusion of people, safety and equity. So these are the three main characteristics that must be maintained and guaranteed by the tools that we implement. And of course, we need to have the AI, that could be used, but with an informed way. So we need to inform why we are using artificial intelligence in education, how we are using it, explaining the reasons and explaining the sources of the information that we share with the students. We have a mission, so we need to exploit AI, of course, developing digital tools for this. And this is why we have this role in the project, so to help the consortium to implement technical solution that will bring this innovation in place and push more the upskilling and skilling of students and employees in the digital transformation era. The objective for these are, of course, we need to have personalization is one aspect. So the learning is not one for all, but any learning experience, any learning material and activities must be personalized for each individual. Okay, we can do this using AI. We need to ensure the inclusion and the innovation in education, of course, with AI, and we need to foster digital skills and AI in education. So for this, we use two main aspects. And one is the playful education. So we want to push this innovation using also gamification or motivational aspects. So we want to motivate. We don't want to only to teach people, but we want to make these in a playful way. So gamification is one technique that we exploit and we use in our solutions. Collaboration is another aspect. So we don't want We want to personalize, but we want to also maintain the social aspects and make the education more collaborative, more cooperative, and not only competition inside to this solution. So we want to groups of people that work together for a best future and for a best education. And of course, we want to be flexible. Okay, so we are in the middle of these two circles. So we want to maintain from one side the playfulness of the systems, and from the other side the collaboration between the peers and the group. So in our research unit, so we exploit the concept of games. So this means are not entertainment games, but are serious games or gamified systems. So this means that we want to exploit these techniques to attract and maintain the attention high from the students. Of course, we exploit all the terms and the aspect from the games, but with a serious purpose. We want to provide or exploit the game elements, but for application that have the goal to change the behavior of people, to engage them, to motivate, and to make the participation very high during the overall experience. Gamification has been used a lot, especially learning and training. We have a lot of papers in research that talk about gamification in learning and training. Gamification exploits the classical elements, but it goes forward on this in the sense that exploit more complex mechanics like specific personalized challenges or missions, aspects like this that are more related to education as a path. Okay. And of course, the ultimate goal is to reduce the dropout of the students, to engage the student more through interactions during the time, with the goal to reach learning outcomes with motivation, and of course to give feedback to the students in a very personalized way during the experience, maintaining the social interaction and of course the satisfaction from the user perspective. So in our group, we have developed a gamification engine, a gamification framework that will support this gamification in the learning. Of course, we have implemented not only the software tools, but all the methods that are around this technology. And of course, we exploit also AI to personalize also the gamification aspect, not only for the game elements, but especially to analyze the data, to profile the users and to in some way derive the right learning material on the learning path to the specific. Sorry. Okay, so we implemented this gamification framework that's covered the entire game life cycle, from the design to the development, the execution, until the analysis and the adaptation of this type of systems. So, of course, a lot of research questions arise during this research. So we want to provide scalable tools for teachers and human resources managers, and of course for students and employees that are the end user that will use the technical solution at the end. So we want to provide software components and architectures that make the education and the training very adaptive and personalized. Of course, we want to measure the impact. So how these systems will in some way motivate more the participants, engage them in a positive way. And of course, how the system will help to increase the learning curve and reduce the dropout value for the learners. Of course, we need to implement this system in a way that we should manage also the cooperative learning, so a learning activity between students. So in the ENCORE project, as Filippo was introducing, so we do this exploiting the open educational resources. So these are in general material that is available on internet, okay, in different remote repositories that we have collected and accumulated in our database. Using this material, of course, we need to define what we call the learning paths. So what are the set of learning activities that must be executed in a certain order in order to reach a specific learning objective? Okay, this is the abstract definition of learning path in our case. To do this, we have a set of challenges. The first one is how we can, in some way, define the open educational resources in an effective way, in the direction to use the OERs in the learning paths and in a way that they can be reused during the experience. They can be shared by educators, by students, and so on. This is a treasure of our platform. We start from this data set, okay? Starting from this data set, we build a set of tools that will help the educators and the learners to learn using a specific learning activities and exploiting the material that is available in our platform. So this is very important because this will help us to personalize the learning based on these OERs, and will help in some way not only the educator to provide nice learning paths, but this is in some way are exercises for students that can exploit the different OERs and select them accordingly to their specific learning objective. So in principle, we collected a lot of OERs in the 3 different domains of the skills, so the digital, the entrepreneurial skills, and the green skills. As soon as these OERs are collected, we have mapped the OERs to the specific skill, the specific category. But more important, we relate this OER to the concept. So in some way, for each skill, we have a set of OERs that the teacher can select, and each resource is connected to the concept. So what is the concept that will be passed to the students as soon as these resources has been consumed, has been used in a specific learning path? So for this, we have implemented 2 enablers. One enabler is the tool for the educator to define this learning path. And the second enabler is the enabler for the learners, how to consume these learning paths in order to reach a specific learning objective. Of course, these 2 tools are strictly connected to what we call pedagogical guidelines. So in the sense how we must use these tools in a good way, okay, using a specific pedagogical methods that guarantee us that we reach a specific learning objective in a good way, okay? And of course, internally to the project, we have a set of experiments that we do internally or externally with some partners. And ultimately is the open recognition. So we need to recognize that the knowledge has been reached, so the objective has been reached by the students, but of course that the teacher has used the platform in a good way, using following the specific pedagogical guidelines during the pilots. So we have implemented 2 enablers, as I say, the one for the educators and the other for the learners. So we have designed these tools, and we have defined also the procedure to use these tools and allow also to reuse the open educational resources. We provide interfaces to interact with the material and to plan for the learning path. And from the other side, interfaces for the student to consume these learning paths and reach the learning objective. Of course, we have also the business angle, in the sense that if you want to, let me say, sell at the end the product of our project, we need to understand how it can be transformed in a business. So the technical enablers are, let me say, based on this conceptual model that we have extracted after long discussions inside to the project. So the principal aspect of the conceptual model are 3, in the sense we have the actors, so the educators and the learners that are part of this platform. We have the aspect of competence. So at the end, the learner will acquire competence using the tools. And we have requirements. So the teacher should say, okay, these are the competencies that with this learning path we we can provide. And of course, the learners accumulate competencies in a portfolio that is in some way the CV, the curricula that and that each learner will build time by time, and this set of competence, as we have seen in the previous slides, are related to specific set of concepts. In the right side, we see the learning path. So the core model that we are implementing in ENCORE. So a learning path is a set of learning activities that can be done in a specific order, not precisely in sequence. We can have also decision done by the students, and we have different type of learning activities. For example, we can have assessment activities where we have a grade assigned. We can have conditional activity that are passed or no respect to the success or the failure of the activity. We have a set of activities, in the sense we open the choice to the student that can select some possible activities in a set defined by the teacher, and we have collaborative activity that can be done by different number of students. Of course, each learning activity is related to an open educational resources, so we have the concrete resources that can be consumed by learning activity, and the learning activity is a part of a learning fragments that is a portion that will compose the complete learning path. Okay, so this is the conceptual model that we have identified in ENCORE. Starting from this, we started to discuss in meetings how we can implement the tools that will support this conceptual model, and we reached the point where we have implemented our enablers. So we have designed the interfaces from the let me say prototyping perspective, okay, but at the end we implemented our enablers that will cover these 4 phases, especially for the educator at the moment. So the first phase is the exploration. So the educator entered the ENCORE platform and will search for open educational resources. So this discovery phase is let me say a searching machine that will suggest through a filtering tool what are the open educational resources good for a specific learning objective. So the teacher will discover these open educational resources, identifying what are the skills that he or she want to reach with the students in the 3 different domains: green, digital, and entrepreneurial domains. And these OERs can be explored. So through a query, we can search OERs, we can filter them, and we can collect. So this means that the teacher, as soon as a set of reasonable OERs have been filtered, can be in some way memorized in a folder, in a folder that can be used for the learning path definition. So this means that we can search the OERs, we can filter them, we can order by, for example, the last update done by the author of this OER. We have metadata that explain us which type of skill domain we have covered with this OER, which type of OER it is. It could be a video, could be an article, could be a specific exercise, and so on. And we can also understand what are the concepts related to an OER, what are the type of resources that we have found in the search. Of course, we can collect them. So we can see the list of OERs filtered by the system. We can save it with the save resource facility. So we can view the complete description of the resources, so the origin of the specific resources. But as soon as we have selected one, we can also see what are the concepts. And you can see here, using NLP, natural language processing techniques, we can also understand what are the concepts related to this specific OER. And with this graph, you can see what are the set of concepts that are covered by the filtered, by the discovery phase done by the teacher. So the last aspect is the type, in the sense we can also group or categorize the OERs by types. For example, in material, specific type of material or software or case studies or other type of resources that we have in our database. So the second phase is the collection. So we have selected the needed OERs, so we can select relevant OERs, and we have two alternatives. One is to export the set of OERs and save it in the classical learning management system like Moodle or Canvas, or we can progress in next step in the planning, the design, where the teacher can design the learning path. So this means that we have created a new collection. For example, we want to do a lecture or a module with our students with in the topic of food and sustainability. We create the folder, we save the relevant OERs in the folder, and we have the set of OERs selected in the saved in the folder. For example, here are OERs related to human-computer interaction in the green domain. In this folder, we can also select the concept. So what are the concepts related to the OERs that we have filtered that we want to use, so the teacher want to use for the design of the learning path. So these are the resources. So the resources accumulated and memorized by the teacher will be used for the planning, for the design. So now we define the learning path. So this means we have the collection, we have the concept related to the collection that we have memorized in our folder. So the teacher can select what are the concepts that must be focalized for this specific lecture. And as soon as the concept has been selected, we pass to the definition of the learning path. So this means that we can concretely define what are the learning activities that the student need to execute to reach a specific learning objective. For this phase, we have an editor. So we have implemented an editor for the teachers that can use it to define the flow. So what are the activities that must be executed in a specific order in order to reach the comprehension, so the knowledge of the specific concept that we have selected in a previous phase. So the last phase is the execution as soon as the learning path has been defined. So we use a Visual Studio Code notebooks. So this means that from one side, you have the learning path defined by the teacher. From the other side of the coin, you have the notebook. So the Visual Studio Code notebook is the notebook executed, used by the students to follow the flow, the path defined by the teacher, and progress in the learning. So this is a way to execute each node of this path and give feedback to the students. So we have different type of feedbacks. For example, we have the failure or success messages for each specific activity. In this case, it was a quiz activity. We can give the specific feedback on the result. We have also, gamification feedback, in the sense we have a progress in the game, so we can assign badges. In this case, the basic badge has been assigned to the student. And we can also have other type of runtime feedbacks. So of course, the learning path editor is one part of this set of enablers. For the moment, we have the teacher that's defined these learning paths, but we are also studying some alternatives, how to introduce artificial intelligence to help the teacher to define the exercises, not directly from OpenAI or from any generative AI techniques, but create these what we call contextualize and personalize the use of artificial intelligence in a way that these tools can support the teacher in defining the content of some learning activities and help the educators to provide more exercises or stronger exercise to the specific learning scenario. So we have used Visual Studio Code as tools to execute these learning paths. As I said, we have also the possibility to have feedbacks that could be also diagrammatic output, but we have the gamification component that is there, and we can also include personalized feedback defined by the teacher. We are also studying how to extend the platform with other tools. For example, we did an experiment with Alexa. Alexa can be used, for example, to execute quizzes or any exercise based on questions and answers with a natural interaction as a tutor for the students, in a conversational interface way. So let me conclude with some future directions. Of course, one difficulty is how to use OERs and how to make real material for usable by the educators. And for this, we are studying a way to standardize the format of this learning material, and how our platform can interpret this information, these OERs, in an automatic way, in a way that we can enable the learner to engage with very useful material for their purpose. And for this, we have wrote some papers on this. The first was this with the University of Salamanca, that is another partner of the ENCORE projects, defining a meta model of OERs. So what are in some way the metadata, the information that characterize perfectly an OER, in a way that we can reuse them in the platform, but also externally to the platform, in order to have assessment activity or instructional activities. This is very important. So we need to characterize the OERs in a formal way. And this research work is one step in this direction. The second direction is the using of generative AI. So for this, we have implemented a plugin of the editor that you have seen before to define the learning paths that use OpenAI. So with this component, we can generate open educational resources using AI, but we do this in a contextualized way. So in the sense that they are generated using the material provided by the educator. And in this article that is in this slide, that is available at this link, we describe how OpenAI can be used to generate open educational resources. So you can go on this link and see the available video. So for example, we have implemented a specific user interface that any teacher and educator can use to generate material. So they can copy and paste a specific source of the material. In this case, we do this video with the link that's include a blog article on prompt engineering. Okay, so the teacher can use this link, can understand what is the target user. So the university, for example, can generate a fill the gap exercise. So we ask OpenAI to generate this type of exercise, but contextualized with a specific material provided by the teacher. And this way, we are sure that we generate something that is really needed by the educator. And we can also generate other type of material, like open questions or multiple choice for the moment. And we have the plan to extend also this tool in order to introduce a different type of materials. So you can have a look at this. And this article, at the end of this article, we have also a survey that we are running in order to collect feedbacks and comments on this, also new ideas on which type of exercise is needed, so to be plugged in our tool. Okay, so I think that's I want to conclude with one small let me say sentence that in some way characterize the research that we are doing in FBK, but especially in the ENCORE project. So in our opinion, adaptive learning is the delivery of personalized learning experiences that address an individual's unique needs. So this means that what we are implementing is a complex system, but in order to focus on individual needs, even if the activities are collective, but the point is that we need to personalize the learning for the specific needs of the educators and for the specific needs of the learners. So I want to conclude with some links. So these are books that I have edited that contains material related to this talk, but in general to the research work that I'm doing on education and models and software systems related to education, and with some references that you can consult for your interests that are again related to the education plus gamification research field that I'm conducting here in FBK. So thanks a lot for your attention, and I'm here for your question, comments. Thanks a lot.
Many thanks, Antonio. And maybe it would be nice to have the link to the article that you mentioned, the one with the survey, also here in the chat, because
Yes.
I couldn't copy that fast. So if you still have it in the browser, it will be faster to share it here. To the participant, I can assure you that we will put on a slide, share the on YouTube unlisted this presentation, so you can go back there. But anyhow, the slide will be on a slide share. You have there the reference that Antonio mentioned, and please, if you have a question or you want just to comment, please feel free to use your microphone or write in the chat. I will be happy to read for you. And I say from the perspective of our presenter, to see a full black screen is not that nice. I believe you would not like that. So if you could turn on your camera, I'm sure you, in whatever situation you are, we don't judge. So that's good. Thank you very much. It's nice. And we can see some faces. Thank you, guys. And thank you. Even reaction. Thank you. Thank you a lot. Nice to see people that I know and people that I don't know. And any question or comment? I know here there is some expert in gamification, for instance. You can also make compliments, don't have to make only question. And there is no right or wrong. So if you
can book a slot to test the system as soon as it will be online, so in the next couple of months.
Yes.
Was it clear? Yeah. What part has interested you the most? You can also put it in the chat. Don't tell the references. Nobody believes that. Do you know what gamification is? Are you all expert in that? Do you know the framework of Antonio?
No, nothing. I don't know nothing about gamification.
That's nice.
But I think that it's a very huge project. So congratulations, because it's a very good idea. And no, maybe I have a question about the use of Visual Studio Code. I don't know anything about also programmation, because I am not a data scientist, but I'm approaching to Python and other things, and I listen Visual Studio Code about this. My question is about have you do you have think about Visual Studio Code because is tools that you have to understand and know when you use ENCORE platform or platform of this type, or is just one of the tools that you can use to use ENCORE platform? And...
Good question. Good question. In the sense, so when we wrote the proposal, we were already working on the use of Visual Studio Code notebooks. Okay, so Visual Studio Code is an environment to program. So, in a lot of programming languages, Python, Java, C# and so on and so forth. But the good aspect of this notebook in Visual Studio Codes were properly the structure of the page, because a notebook in Visual Studio is a set of cells, okay? So in a way that's you can execute the cell by cell your notebook, okay? So for example, you can write a piece of program, you can run it, and you can see the results, okay? And you can do this in a sequential way, okay? So in education, in some way, when you are executing a learning path, you are doing the same, because you do, I don't know, you read some material, okay? After that, you read the material shared by the teacher, you can do some quizzes, okay, to see if your knowledge is good or not on the topic. After the quiz, you do a specific exercise on the topic, for example, programming, okay? Or you can read the extra material for this. So this means that in the Visual Studio Code notebook, we can replicate this behavior, okay, in a digital way. So this means that you receive the material, you read it, you do the quiz, you push for the answer, and after the answer, you have the feedback from the tool that you have done in a correct way or not, and you can progress in the learning path, okay? And this was very nice because technically was probably the tool that we had in mind when we are writing the proposal, no? So of course, after more than 1 year that I was working on this project, we discovered that properly Visual Studio Code is not the unique one, okay? So we can, in some way, in my vision, each learning path is a composition of tools. So you can use a set of tools. Each tool is devoted for a specific learning type, learning activity type. For example, a quiz, it's better to do a quiz in, I don't know, in Kahoot, okay? After that, you can do coding in Visual Studio, and you can read the material on the web, okay? So in my opinion, our execution engine in ENCORE can be exploited as an orchestrator of this, So you can orchestrate the execution of these tools while executing the learning path, okay? So, and this is the vision that I want to put in place in the near future, in the ENCORE project, but in general in the research that I'm doing in education, okay? So for example, Alexa is one tool that we can exploit, for
Yes, I see.
for quizzes, So for example, for group activities, we need to search the good tool to put the students together in a room, in a virtual room, and doing some playful activities together with a learning objective in the backend,
Okay, thank you.
Oh,
Thank you very much, and thank you for being so forward. We appreciate that. Other comments? Would you wish to see the platform? Are you curious about? And what is it, your background, technical or more from the humanistic side? I'm asking this because of another event that is approaching. So if you want to speak up or say in the chat your background, that would be helpful to know then what to tell you next. So, or we can go for a reaction. How many of you are from the technical background? Make a reaction on your screen. One, two. The other with the camera off are sleeping, I tell you. Two. So the rest are all from the humanistic side. Oh, nice. So on, I mean, not judging, I like both profile, but is approaching a more humanistic kind of event within the frame or The ENCORE project is going to be on the 22nd of January. The presenter will be from the University of Padua, and will be related to some pedagogical guideline we are working on. And I just say save the date for the 22nd of January, and more information will come. So follow us on our website, on our social media, and we will be happy to inform you about it. I would say if there are no other questions or comments, I thank Antonio very much, and all the people here. Thank you for staying with us this hour. It was really nice to have you. And we will follow up with a wrap up of this meeting with slide, and we won't share the recording. We'll only be taken for proof in case the European Commission asks. Thank you, everybody, and it was nice to see all of you. Bye.
Thanks a lot. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
See you around.
Bye, thanks.
Bye bye.